Everyone, Sydney and Tommy with you. Welcome to the special Scars and Spikes, a special edition of Scars and Spikes, I should say, as the 2026 World Cup schedule has been released. Tommy, are you excited?
I feel like the World Cup is already here because that schedule show has been what we're in 2025 now, right?
That was painful. Lasted about an hour. Scheduled to last a half hour, but my goodness, that was cringe-worthy. But I kept texting you before that it should have been a tweet or something like that, or at the very least, a post online. But I mean, my gosh, it was just terrible.
I thought you were
Terrible.
lying to me when you said Kim Kardashian was going to be on it.
No, I
And
was
then
not
she's on
lying.
there.
She was with
I
her
felt
son.
so bad for her kid. Oh my gosh. She said 4 times, "I'm going to embarrass my kid." And then
Well-
Kevin Hart, I don't know if I could have stayed awake if it wasn't for Kevin Hart and that whole thing. And it's not Toronto, it's Toronto.
No, yeah.
It's the things you learn. It's the things you learn.
Exactly. I'll say this: if Kim hasn't embarrassed her kid already, Kanye's already done it numerous times. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, let's talk about the schedule release and Atlanta hitting it big. 5 group stage. Well, let's start from the beginning. They'll be hosting a semifinal on July 15th. That's the big news, obviously. But then beyond that, 7 other matches they'll be hosting. A round of 32 match on the July 1st, round of 16 match on July 6th, and then 5 group stage matches, June 15th, June 18th, June 21st, June 24th, and June 27th. So, like I said, Atlanta hitting it big, and a lot of World Cup soccer coming to Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So, really excited for this news. Really excited to see Atlanta be playing such a big part.
Yeah, I saw Miami only got 4 group stage games, and I was curious, how did they only get 4? Well, it was, they were getting. I think they got the bronze medal game, right?
The third place match, yeah.
Yeah, they got that. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, not everybody got 5 games, so it was great. That Atlanta got 5, and I think a big thanks to this is for Darren Eales. That was one of his main jobs, right? On his way out was, we got to get the World Cup games here, and he did it. So thank you, Darren Eales, and the whole group that worked on that.
He did. And again, great to see Atlanta continuing to be one of the biggest cities in soccer in the nation, and really see itself on the global football scale. I mean, you have U.S. Soccer coming here, their headquarters, She Believes Cup, Copa America coming in a few months as well. Club World Cup could be held, or a match or several matches could be held at Mercedes-Benz Stadium next year. Women's World Cup could be held in the U.S. U.S. and Mexico are doing a joint bid for 2027. So if they win that, there's a possibility that matches will be held at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So this is just one, or the biggest moment yet for soccer in Atlanta. Again, semifinal is a massive deal. Round of 32, round of 16, round of 32 is a little bit of a wrinkle that hasn't been there for previous World Cups. So Atlanta will be a host a match for that round of 16 as well, and then the 5 group stage matches. So I imagine a lot of people are already clearing their calendars for those days. I mean, it's still a ways off, but still great to see Atlanta getting squarely in the picture for those matches. I didn't think it'd be... I was concerned that Atlanta wouldn't host the semifinal. I thought Dallas would host the final, but they'll host another semifinal in New York, New Jersey. MetLife Stadium will host the final on July 19th, I believe. Well, I have it right in front of me. Yes, it is July 19th. I don't know why I said I believe. It's right in front of me. But yes, Dallas, Atlanta semifinal host, and again, MetLife Stadium, a final host. Were you surprised, by the way, that MetLife got the final? I thought it would be Dallas, to be honest with you, based on what I read.
I think it was 50-50 on where it was going to go. But man, if you're gonna go to the World Cup and spend a ton of money, why don't you spend even more money by having to stay in New York, right? It's so expensive. But don't forget that the World Cup hub is going to be in Atlanta. So I think that's a huge part of it here as well. I mean, it's going to be the center where everything is. So it's going to keep the city just booming from start to finish. Even when there's not games here, the hub's going to be here. And you've seen it with other World
Yeah.
Cups. When you see the hub, there's people that just hang out all day, just hang around there to see who's going to show up, throughout the day. So that's super exciting, for the city. And the thing that you think of, and remember when the Braves lost like the All-Star game, like they were talking about, I think, the financial, like how much money the city was going to lose. But now you look at the World Cup and how much money is that going to make the city of Atlanta throughout the entire thing?
Yeah.
And again, with other cities, yeah, you're going to have games, but there's going to be other days where nothing's going on. There's
Right.
always going to be something going on in the city of Atlanta throughout this entire thing. So that's really awesome.
Yeah. And Infantino, and I don't really. I mean, I feel like people don't rate Infantino for good reason. But we won't get into that on this podcast. But Infantino said, yeah, it's like almost a World Cup, but a Super Bowl each day. Just the amount of people that will be in town. I mean, throughout the 12 days, not the 12 days, the 12 days, yeah, of the group stage, that span of time, and then moving on to the knockout stages. It's just going to be insane. Like you were just talking about, I'm worried about New York, New Jersey. I mean, you mentioned how expensive it will be, and that's obviously true, but I'm worried about the transportation. That transportation situation is just going to be a mess. I mean, it already is a mess trying to get people in and out of the city, but getting people into New Jersey, getting people out of New Jersey, not to mention, like you were saying, the hotel prices are going to be off the chain. They're probably already like $1,000 right now, 2 years out.
Oh yeah, and how they did a Super Bowl there though, right?
They did. They did.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I mean that's kind of a you know I'm sure they were watching and seeing how they were able to handle a Super Bowl at that time. But they've got enough hotels and things over in there, and
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes. But
Yeah.
does the U.S. make the semifinal?
I hope so. Certainly hope
Oh
so.
boy.
I know, but again, I know Dallas will be bummed. I know a lot of what I was reading, what I was hearing, was that Dallas would get the final. But again, they're a semifinal host with Atlanta. So just some other notable matches coming up. Mexico City, Estadio Azteca, June 11th, will play host to the opening match of the tournament. Final, like we mentioned, MetLife Stadium. So those are the other kind of key matches. Miami, Hard Rock Stadium, Miami will play host to the third place match. And we have to throw this in too. The U.S. men's national team, of course, will be a co-host of the tournament. They have learned where they'll be playing their matches in the group stage. June 12th, 2026 at SoFi Stadium in LA, or close to LA, I should say. June 19th in Seattle at Lumen Field, and then June 25th in LA at SoFi Stadium again. Doug Robertson tweeted this out earlier. He says, interesting that the U.S. soccer headquarters and National Trading Center is coming to Atlanta, but the U.S. is going to be playing all of their group stage matches on the West Coast, which I agree with. I'm a little surprised that U.S. won't be making their way to the East Coast in the group stage matches. That's a huge miss, I feel like, FIFA. To be fair, U.S. Soccer did make the schedule. FIFA did with consultation with U.S. Soccer, but I feel like that's an opportunity missed by organizers to have the U.S. men's national team at least on the East Coast, if not Atlanta, maybe somewhere else on the East Coast, to expose fans nationwide or that part of the country to them. So interesting decision by the schedule makers. What do you think?
So you look at the time zone over there, and my question is what time will these games be starting?
Right.
And we won't find out till later. But do you start a game at 10 o'clock over there? And I mean, 10 o'clock here for us, right, on the East
Yeah.
Coast, and
I
that's
hope not.
right. And you look at sports and you look at finals, like when the NBA or the NHL or the World Series, they try to make it around a time that the entire country will tune in, right, and not really take someone out. So I assume these games would probably be starting, if they're smart, between 8 and 8:30, right? And those people just getting out of work will be able to
Yeah,
catch it on
exactly.
the West Coast, and then over here it's 8 o'clock. That's not too late. You could still go to bed at a decent time and be able to catch the entire thing. So that's if they're smart. Now we know that most people making decisions aren't that smart, so we'll have to see what happens. But that's at least my hope, because I do not want to be up until midnight. Us doing spaces
You're
afterwards,
right.
we're
Exactly.
gonna be half awake.
Here's one interesting decision. July 4th, 2026, 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. Philadelphia will be hosting a round of 16 match.
Ooh.
Yeah. So you talk about good decisions. That's already supposed to be a big year for them already. 2026, but that's just icing on the cake. Would be nice if the U.S. were to play that match too.
Yeah,
be so much America, like the place would burst.
All of it, all the America. Well, do you think MLS will shut down for this?
I mean, it has to. It's going to be FIFA's global match calendar, and yeah, FIFA's going to pause, or MLS is going to pause. Other leagues are going to pause around the world. It will. I mean, it has to, right? Because
I've been saying a lot of things that MLS has to do for years, and they don't do it. Right?
No,
we thought there was going to be a lot of changes this year in MLS, and we didn't get them.
I think there's been a precedent set with past World Cups. Obviously, the last one was in winter, so that doesn't really count toward this next one. But I think the precedent has been set in past World Cups that MLS has had to pause during the World Cups just so players who are in MLS can play. But we'll see. I mean, stranger things have happened, and you don't want to give MLS the benefit of the doubt in some areas, but I imagine it will pause. I'll imagine it'll be put on pause. But yeah, exciting times for Atlanta. Exciting times for soccer fans really around the world. As the big one, Atlanta, I should say, hosting a semifinal on July 15th at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Round of 32, July 1st. Round of 16, July 6th. And then group stage matches June 15th, 18th, 21st, 24th, and 27th. Any final thoughts?
I'm just wondering if Kevin Hart, because he said he would like to take he would take a penalty if he could, if Brad Guzan or Josh Cohen would be able to stop that ball. It's gonna live rent free in my head all the way up until the World Cup. So
I want to see him follow through on that USA back tat that he was talking about.
We could have cut so many minutes out of that program.
Could do, at least there weren't commercials, I'll say that, but we could do an entire show on how cringe-worthy that show was. I mean, I feel bad for Jenny Taft. I feel bad for Andres Cantor. Just top of their game journalists having to sit through that. But, I mean,
I hope Kevin Hart made a lot of money for that.
He probably did. I hope Kim Kardashian made a lot of money.
Oh, and you got Drake. Like, where's Justin Bieber? Like, if you had Bieber there and Drake,
is Bieber not a soccer fan?
He was a co-manager of an NHL All-Star team this weekend, so he was.
Busy. Oh yeah. Yeah, gotcha. Okay, so I guess Drake was their second choice.
Yeah,
is that what we're saying?
100%. Drake is he's the sports curse, right?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Canada out.
Canada getting grouped. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like I said, exciting times for Atlanta. Exciting times for really soccer fans around the world, and it all starts in June 2026. So we have plenty of time to talk about it. Of course, be with us in the lead up to the tournament. I mean, it's still a ways off, but any other news that we find out, we learn of, we'll talk about it. But Tommy, it's been great, and countdown to 26 is on.
All right, we'll see what happens.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you. USA. We will see you next time.
Later.